Life after the army, how Dio evolved as an artist. There are moments in a person's life that quietly reshape everything, not with noise or fanfare, but with the kind of stillness that only comes when the world slows down and forces you to look inward. For Kyungsoo, better known to millions around the world as Dio of EXO, his mandatory military service was exactly that kind of moment. It was a pause, a breath, a chapter written in silence, and what came after that silence spoke louder than anything he had ever created before. Dio has always been considered one of the most naturally gifted vocalists in the Korean music industry. Even in the early days of EXO, when the group was finding its footing in a fiercely competitive landscape, his voice stood apart. There was something in the way he sang, a rawness wrapped in control, an emotional honesty that didn't need to be performed because it simply existed. Fans recognized it immediately, and over the years, that recognition only deepened. But talent, no matter how extraordinary, is not static. It either grows or it fades, and for Dio, the years leading up to and following his military service became the crucible in which his artistry was truly forged. He enlisted in July 2019, stepping away from the spotlight at a time when EXO was at one of its most celebrated peaks. For an artist whose entire adult life had been built around performing, recording, and connecting with an audience, the decision to step back, even if it was not entirely a choice but a national obligation, required a particular kind of courage. The music stopped. The cameras went away. The carefully constructed world of schedules, fan meetings, and comeback seasons gave way to something far more grounded and humbling. And in that space, something important happened to Dio as a human being, which would later echo profoundly through his work as an artist. When he was discharged in November 2021, the world he returned to had changed significantly. The global pandemic had reshaped the entertainment industry, audiences had evolved, and the conversations surrounding mental health, authenticity, and artistic integrity had grown louder and more meaningful. Dio did not rush back. He moved with deliberate intention, as if he understood that what he was about to offer the world deserved to be handled carefully, thoughtfully, and on his own terms. His solo music career, which had always existed in fragments alongside his work with EXO, began to take on a new shape after his return. The songs he released carried a different weight. There was a maturity in the storytelling, a willingness to sit inside difficult emotions rather than gloss over them with polished production. His voice, already celebrated for its warmth and depth, seemed to have found new textures, quieter corners and braver edges that hadn't been quite as present before. Listeners noticed that he wasn't simply singing songs anymore. He was sharing something that felt deeply personal, as though the years of discipline, reflection, and distance had stripped away any remaining performance anxiety and left behind only the truest version of his musical self. What makes Dio's evolution particularly compelling is how it extends beyond music into his work as an actor. Long before his military service, he had already established himself as one of the most respected actor idols in the Korean entertainment industry. His performances in films and dramas consistently drew critical praise, not because he was simply competent, but because he brought an unusual level of psychological depth to his roles. He had a gift for stillness, for communicating enormous inner worlds through the subtlest shifts in expression. But after his return, something in his acting deepened. Further, the roles he chose seemed more considered, more aligned with a personal artistic vision rather than the commercial expectations that often dictate an idol's career path. This shift in artistic identity is not accidental. It is the natural result of a person who used a period of enforced distance from fame to reconnect with who he actually is, separate from the labels and expectations that come with being a globally recognized entertainer. The military, for all its rigidity and discipline, has a way of dismantling the ego structures that celebrity tends to build. When you are no longer defined by streaming numbers, fan chants, and magazine covers, you are left with the fundamental question of what you actually value and what kind of artist you actually want to be. Dio appears to have answered that question with remarkable clarity. His relationship with his fanbase also evolved during this period. EXO-L, the devoted global community of EXO fans, had always held Dio in deep affection, not just for his talent but for his personality, which even within the high-pressure environment of idol culture managed to feel genuine, grounded, and quietly humorous. When he returned, the connection between artist and audience felt more mutual, more honest. He wasn't performing appreciation, he was expressing it. And fans, who had waited patiently through years of separation, responded with the kind of loyalty that transcends trends and chart positions. It is worth considering what it means for an artist to grow in an industry that often discourages it. The Korean entertainment world is extraordinarily demanding, built on systems that reward consistency, conformity, and the careful maintenance of a public image. To evolve within that system, to insist on artistic growth even when the safer path would be to simply give audiences more of what they already know they love, requires both confidence and a certain degree of fearlessness. Dio has demonstrated both in the years following his discharge. There is also something worth acknowledging in the way he has navigated the balance between his group identity and his individual artistry. EXO remains a central and beloved part of who he is, and his loyalty to that chapter of his life has never wavered. But the Dio who exists after the army is also unmistakably his own person, an artist with a distinct voice, a clear aesthetic sensibility, and a growing body of work that stands entirely on its own merit. He has found a way to honor where he came from while continuing to move forward, which is perhaps the most difficult and most admirable thing any artist can do. The evolution of Dio is not a story of reinvention in the dramatic, headline-grabbing sense. It is something quieter and more lasting than that. It is the story of an artist who used one of life's most significant transitions, a period of absence, discipline, and self-examination, to come back more fully himself. The music is richer, the performances are deeper, the choices are more deliberate, and the connection with the people who love his work is more authentic than it has ever been. In an entertainment landscape that moves at a relentless pace, where yesterday's sensation can feel irrelevant by tomorrow, Dio stands as a quiet but powerful reminder that longevity in art is not about keeping up. It is about going deeper. It is about having the courage to grow even when growth is uncomfortable, to choose substance over spectacle, and to trust that the audience worth keeping is the one that will follow you not because of who you were, but because of who you are continuing to become. Kyungsoo came back from the army not as a changed man trying to prove something, but as an artist who had simply had the time and the space to become more fully himself. And in that becoming, he gave everyone who has followed his journey something genuinely rare, the experience of watching real artistic growth unfold in real time, unhurried, unforced, and entirely worth the wait. Musical notes sparkles.